Grandpa, they're trying to kill you. There are sentences that rearrange the furniture of your soul. That was one of them. My name is Jones. I am 70 years old. I have built companies from empty rooms and shaking hands. I have negotiated with sharks in $1,000 suits. I have survived recessions, lawsuits, betrayals in business. But nothing prepared me from my 12-year-old granddaughter standing in my study, wearing her school cardigan and fear in her eyes, telling me that my own son and daughter-in-law were poisoning me. It was early autumn. The light slanted through the tall windows of my Beacon Hill townhouse, catching dust in the air like suspended time. My heart had been acting up for weeks. Fatigue, pressure in my chest, spells of dizziness that left me gripping furniture like a man twice my age. I had assumed it was stress. I was wrong. Show me, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Lily stepped forward. She didn't look like a child in that moment. She looked like someone who had made a terrible, necessary decision. She set two pill bottles on my mahogany desk. One was familiar, my prescription heart medication. Blue tablets, the same ones I had taken for years. The other bottle looked identical from the outside, but when she poured them into her palm, white tablets scattered across the wood like tiny bones. "They're not the same," she whispered. My fingers trembled as I picked up one of the white pills. No imprint, no identification number, smooth and blank. "Mom switches them in the mornings," Lily said. "I saw her. I have pictures." She unzipped her backpack and spread photographs across my desk. Images of two bottles open at once. Screenshots of search histories, phrases like symptoms after stopping beta blockers, gradual cardiac stress timeline, medical retirement documentation. My chest tightened, not from illness, but from comprehension. For 3 weeks, I had been taking a death sentence disguised as care, and the person handing it to me each morning was my daughter-in-law, Claire, the person who had insisted on monitoring my vitals, the person who had asked, with professional concern, "How are you feeling now, Dad?" I sat down slowly. "How long have you known?" I asked Lily. "2 weeks," she said. "I wasn't sure at first. But you only get worse after the pills." The room tilted slightly, not from medication this time, but from memory. 3 weeks ago, my son Marcus had stood in my boardroom and demanded I sell my company. 3 weeks ago, I had refused, and 3 weeks ago, my health began to fail. I picked up the phone. 911. "What's your emergency?" "My name is Jones," I said. "My son and daughter-in-law have been poisoning me. I have evidence." As sirens wailed somewhere in the distance, Lily stood beside me, small and unshakable. I wrapped my arm around her shoulders. "Are we safe now?" she asked quietly. "Yes," I said. But my mind was already drifting backward, because nothing like this happens overnight. It begins with something smaller, a conversation, a refusal, a line crossed in private, and I had crossed one without knowing it. 3 weeks before Lily stood in my study with proof of attempted murder, the walls of my life began to shift. The change didn't announce itself with alarms or bright lights. It arrived in a suit, with a folder in hand, and the calm certainty of a man who believed he already owned the world. That man was my son, Marcus. He barged into the Meridian Biotech boardroom without knocking. "We need to talk now," he said, words sharp, urgent. His eyes burned with impatience, the kind that grows in someone who has always measured himself against you. Claire, my daughter-in-law, sat at the end of the table, calm and composed, her eyes flicking between us as if testing reactions like a scientist observing an experiment. Marcus slammed a thick folder onto the table. Aurora Pharmaceuticals is offering $3.1 billion for a full acquisition, he said, voice flat. The board shifted uncomfortably. Some avoided my gaze. Claire's hands remained folded neatly, but I saw the subtle calculation in her eyes. You should have spoken to me first, I said, keeping my voice steady. I tried. Marcus shot back. For 2 years, you've blocked expansion, poured money into long-shot dementia research while competitors dominate the generics market. You've built a castle, Dad, but you've trapped yourself inside it. He wasn't entirely wrong. Aurora wanted profitable products, clean patents. Our dementia research, expensive and slow, was risky, but it mattered. I had built this company to help patients, not to maximize quarterly returns. We are close to breakthroughs that could change millions of lives, I said. I won't abandon it for money or expedience. Marcus's face hardened. Not anger. Exactly. But cold determination. Claire finally spoke, her voice measured. Dad, maybe it's time to consider stepping back. You've built something extraordinary. There's dignity in transition. Dignity, transition. Words that sound gentle, but in that moment were knives. I remembered Marcus at 8, organizing my office. At 16, sneaking into meetings. At 30, demanding faster growth. Ambition had always been his, but now greed had begun to take root. You want control, I said quietly. I want survival, he replied. The meeting ended without resolution, but Marcus lingered at the door. This deal will happen, he said calmly, with or without your consent. It wasn't a threat, it was a promise, and promises like that settle into your chest heavier than any pill could. That evening, I felt the first chest pain, sharp, sudden, unfamiliar. I gripped my chair, telling myself it was stress. Claire arrived almost instantly, hand cool on my wrist. Stress, she said. We may need to adjust your dosage. We can't risk a medical emergency. I trusted her. That trust, I would later realize, was the start of my undoing. Because ambition, when mixed with desperation, becomes dangerous, and I had just glimpsed what Marcus and Claire were willing to do to get what they wanted. 3 weeks from that night, I would be staring at 2 pill bottles on my desk, realizing the people I trusted most were actively trying to end my life. The body is honest long before the mind admits it. Within days of that boardroom confrontation, I began noticing subtle changes I almost didn't see. Fatigue wrapped around me like a heavy coat. Simple tasks, signing papers, making phone calls, required more effort than they ever had. I would wake feeling alert, only to falter within an hour of taking my morning medication. At first, I blamed stress, deadlines, each. I told myself these were natural symptoms of a man in his late 60s. But Lily noticed. She was 11, but sharper than most adults around me. She noticed how I could pace the length of the hallway effortlessly before breakfast. Yet by mid-morning, I needed to sit. She noticed my energy would lift when she arrived from school, only to fade sharply an hour later. Her young eyes began to connect dots that I, blinded by trust, could not. Claire's attention was constant. She appeared each morning with my pills and water already prepared. She monitored my pulse with professional precision, recording every detail on a small tablet: time, symptoms, duration. She suggested dietary adjustments, limited board interactions, even shorter meetings. Every movement was careful, deliberate, reassuring on the surface. Marcus echoed concern publicly, his voice heavy with practiced worrying. "Dad, maybe it's time to consider a medical retirement," he said during a board call. I doubted myself. Fatigue can erode clarity faster than any external threat. Lily, however, did not waver. She began observing, quietly, relentlessly. One evening, she overheard a conversation between Marcus and Claire in the kitchen. "They're predictable now," Claire said. "How long before the board forces retirement?" Marcus asked. "Another week, maybe two. Documentation will justify everything," she replied. Documentation, justify. The words were deliberate, precise. The next morning, Lily stayed home from school, pretending to be ill. She hid in the hallway closet and watched Claire enter my bedroom with 2 pill bottles. One contained my familiar blue tablets, the other, identical but white, empty of anything that could help my heart. Claire poured the real pills into a plastic bag and replaced them with the sugar tablets. Lily didn't cry. She didn't gasp. She waited, every nerve taut. Then she documented it. I sat in my study, unaware, swallowing sugar disguised as medicine. Trust blinded me. I believed Claire's gentle vigilance was care, Marcus's concern a reflection of love. In reality, each day they manipulated my health, meticulously weakening me while keeping a mask of concern. Lily, observing in silence, became braver than anyone in the house. She watched, calculated, and planned. And in her quiet vigilance, she became the only thing standing between me and the very people I had called family. Because sometimes the smallest voice holds the loudest truth, and I, a man who had built a company from scratch, nearly missed it. The morning everything changed began like any other. Dim sunlight filtering through the study windows, the scent of coffee brewing faintly in the kitchen, my hand trembling slightly as I reached for my notes. Claire appeared promptly, carrying my medication and water. Her movements smooth, practiced. This morning, the episodes were noticeable. She said, voice soft, professional. "We may need to increase your dosage." She held up a new bottle, pills larger than usual. Extended release, better for today's stress. Marcus hovered nearby, arms folded, eyes sharp. "The board meets at 10. He reminded me, you need to appear decisive." I studied the pills in my hand. Something felt off, to smooth, to blank. My stomach tightened. Then came a small, firm voice. "Grandpa, don't." Lily stood in the doorway, school backpack clutched to her chest, pale but resolute. Claire stiffened. Marcus's jaw tightened. "You should be at school," Marcus said sharply. "I'm not going," Lily replied, stepping forward with purpose beyond her years. She set 2 pill bottles on my desk. The sound they made against the polished wood felt heavier than it should. "These are your real pills," she said, holding up the blue tablets. "These are sugar pills." Silence fell like a weight in the room. Claire moved toward her, lips trembling. "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly," Lily said. She opened her backpack, revealing photos and screenshots. Claire switching bottles, documenting my health, researching how to manipulate medication. Her small hands trembled only slightly, her voice unwavering. Marcus's composure cracked. "You've ruined everything," he muttered, the words tasting bitter even as he spoke them. I felt clarity for the first time in weeks. The chest pains, the exhaustion, the weakness, they had never been random. They had been orchestrated, measured, deliberate. "Call the police," I instructed Lily. She did. Within minutes, officers filled my study, examining the bottles, taking statements, collecting evidence. Claire attempted to explain, her voice coldly rational. With his condition, it would have looked natural. Heart failure. No one would have questioned it. Marcus said nothing. His eyes held only resentment. As I watched the people I had trusted most in life reduced to suspects in their own greed, I realized the full truth. Ambition becomes dangerous when paired with desperation. Deception grows fastest where love is expected. That morning, I understood that Lily, the girl I had always seen as small and fragile, was the only one standing between me and death. And in her courage, I found hope I hadn't felt in weeks. Because sometimes the smallest voice carries the loudest truth, and the most unexpected heart holds the strength to save you. The trial was swift, almost clinical. Evidence, once laid bare, doesn't bend or hide, it sharpens. The sugar tablets were tested. My blood work confirmed the decline caused by missed medication, and Claire's browser history revealed every calculated search. Sugar pill effects, cardiac stress symptoms, accelerating medical retirement, Marcus's debts, hidden commissions, and secret promises tied to the acquisition were fully visible. When the verdict came, guilty on all counts, I felt neither triumph nor rage. Only gravity. Marcus asked for permission to address me. His voice was unsteady. I panicked. The debt, the pressure. I didn't see another way. There's always another way. Always. It may be harder. It may require humility. But it exists. You chose control over conscience, I said slowly, and you involved your daughter in that choice. Marcus lowered his head. Claire said nothing. Years of planning, greed, and calculation had collapsed in courtroom silence. Sentences were handed down. Marcus, 15 years. Claire, 18, for violating her oath as a medical professional. Justice, finally measured, yet bittersweet. Afterward, Lily and I stepped outside the courthouse. Her small hand gripped mine tightly. "Do you hate them?" she asked quietly. I paused, considering. "I'm sad for who they became," I said honestly, "but not sad for protecting ourselves. Not sad for saving us from them." Lily nodded, understanding beyond her years. "What happens now?" she asked. I gestured to the papers on my desk. "We rebuild together. The research continues. The company thrives, and your future is yours to choose." She smiled, the first truly carefree expression I'd seen in months. "Can we have ice cream for dinner tonight?" "Absolutely," I said, laughing. Some family traditions are worth starting anew. That evening, the study was calm. Sunlight no longer felt threatening. Trust, love, and courage can come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes family isn't those with your blood. Sometimes family is the one who risks everything to save you. Lily taught me courage has no age limit. An 11-year-old can be a hero when love and justice drive her forward. True family is forged through loyalty, sacrifice, and protection, not just shared DNA. While Claire and Marcus chose greed and deceit, Lily chose life, truth, and love. We would carry forward what truly mattered. Not bitterness, not revenge, but a legacy of hope, resilience, and courage. Because when the smallest voice speaks the loudest truth, it can save more than a life. It can restore what is worth keeping.